My dear radiant soul, welcome. Tonight I invite you to take the first step into a realm where words are not mere echoes of thought, but instruments of divine creation, where repetition is not drudgery, but ritual, sacred and transformative. For what I bring you now is not a technique, not a theory, not a superstition, but a key. A key fashioned by eternal law and proven in the furnace of countless souls who dared to imagine boldly and speak deliberately. If you will but dare to speak to yourself, not casually but consciously for a single day, repeating the words, "I will soon reveal to you," with reverence and faith, then I tell you, your world will tremble with new life. That which was once dormant shall awaken. That which was once barren shall bloom. And that which seemed impossible shall bend its knee before you. You see, my beloved, the universe does not respond to effort. It responds to assumption. It does not yield to striving. It yields to knowing. And it is through the deliberate repetition of sacred inner words spoken in the silent sanctuary of your mind that you plant the seed of knowing. Let us begin with a simple, eternal truth. In the beginning was the Word. This is not metaphor. It is blueprint. It is divine instruction. The Word, the repeated inner word, is the genesis of all that is seen. The house you live in, the face you see in the mirror, the bank account you observe, the relationships you hold, the body you carry. Each of these is a reflection of a word once whispered in your inner chambers. But not just any word, no. Not the anxious murmurs of fear, not the mutterings of doubt, not the repetitive lament of, "I can't." I speak of the sacred word spoken in faith. I speak of the phrase that assumes the desire is already fulfilled. When you repeat such a phrase for 24 hours with reverence, you become the very incarnation of your wish. Why 24 hours, you ask? Because in the world of the spirit, time is not measured in minutes, but in saturation. The number is not arbitrary. One day, one full cycle of the sun is the first gate of transformation. It is the outer court of the temple. The first hour of repetition is ignition. The 12th hour is immersion. The 24th is conception. You have been told that change requires years, that progress is slow, that transformation is a mountain climbed by inches. I tell you, that is the lie of the outer world. It is not time that changes you. It is attention, it is intensity, it is faith. Speak the words with conviction for one day, and you will see the beginning of that which the world called miracle. But it is no miracle, it is law. This is why I say, repeat these words for 24 hours and see what happens. Because I know what will happen. You will change. And when you change, your world must change with you. But do not confuse this with superstition or mere affirmation. You must not parrot empty syllables like a wind-up machine. You must enter the word. You must feel the word. You must become the word. Let me explain by way of the ancient pattern. When God created the world, he said, "Let there be light." He did not say, "I hope for light," or "perhaps light will come." He declared it, he repeated it into the void, and light appeared. The same law governs you. You are the operant power. And the repetition of sacred words is your way of declaring light into your own darkness. You do not hope, you declare. You do not wait, you assume. You do not beg, you become. This is the way. Consider this. Every conversation you've ever had with another was preceded by a conversation you had with yourself. Every judgment, every compliment, every memory, each first arose in the temple of the mind. That is where the world is born. So I ask you now, as you hear my voice, not with ears, but with your deeper awareness, what is the word you repeat to yourself? What chant echoes through your inner halls? I am not enough. It's too late. Nothing ever changes. If so, then look around and you will see the harvest of that word. But if instead for a single day you choose to plant a new seed, If you say to yourself again and again with feeling, everything is working out in my favor, or I am already who I wish to be, or God is within me creating now, and if you mean it, then the earth beneath your feet will respond. You may not see the full flower in one day, but you will feel the seed breaking open in the dark. You will feel the trembling of soil, the rustling of destiny, the first winds of change. What happens when you repeat a sacred phrase for 24 hours is that you begin to break the spell of inertia. You interrupt the hypnosis of habit. You pierce through the veil of what is and enter what must be. You become the word made flesh. Remember, your subconscious is not impressed by one moment of intensity. It is reprogrammed by consistency. It does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your assumptions. And what is repetition if not the ceremonial dressing of assumption in the garments of rhythm and time? This is not about speaking to the world. It is about speaking to you. You are not here to change circumstances. You are here to change consciousness, and circumstances like shadows will obey. So I give you now a sacred invitation. Begin this process with a solemn vow. For the next 24 hours, I will consecrate my inner words. I will become a priest in the temple of my own mind. I will speak only that which is already fulfilled. Let every thought, every whisper, every glance inward be a confirmation of the fulfilled promise. When doubt arises, repeat the word. When fear visits, repeat the word. When the outer world mocks you with contradiction, smile gently and return to the word. For it is written, my word shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Isaiah 55:11. Let your word prosper. Let your word return not void, but full of manifestation, full of transformation, full of light. Before we end this first unveiling, I invite you to select the sacred phrase that will carry you through the next 24 hours. Choose it carefully. It must be simple. It must be present tense. It must declare the end. And above all, it must feel true when you repeat it in stillness. And so I say to you, speak as though it were already done, and it shall be done. Repeat not from desperation, but from dominion. Speak not from hoping, but from having. Speak not to convince yourself, but to become yourself. This is the beginning. Now, let us go deeper. My dear friends, let us now journey deeper beyond the veil of sound, beyond the realm of the audible, into the sacred sanctuary of the unspoken word. For the true power of transformation is not found in the voice that moves through air, but in the word that moves within you. It is not your lips, but your awareness that shape your destiny. When I say, repeat these words, I do not mean that you must speak aloud to be heard by the heavens. Heaven does not dwell beyond the clouds. It resides within your consciousness. And the ear of God listens not to vibration in air, but to vibration in belief. What matters is not the volume of your declaration, but the depth of your conviction. You may never utter a sound aloud, yet if your inner word is saturated with feeling, if it echoes with the certainty of fulfilled desire, it shall move mountains. The inner word is sacred. It is hidden, but it is alive. It is silent, but it speaks worlds into existence. Your inner speech, my beloved, is the scribe of your fate. It writes upon the scroll of your subconscious mind, and what is written there cannot return void. You may sit in stillness, not a single muscle moved, not a single syllable spoken, and yet within your soul may be chanting, I am, I have, it is done. And these inward repetitions are the seeds of all creation. Each inner phrase, gently dropped into the depths of your subconscious, takes root in the unseen realm and blossoms in your visible world. Let me say it plainly. The subconscious is not selective. It is not judgmental. It is not critical. It is pure soil. And you, dear dreamer, are the sower. The words you whisper silently to yourself are the seeds you plant. And whether you whisper of abundance or lack, joy or sorrow, health or decay, your subconscious accepts it all and brings forth fruit accordingly. Consider the parable of the sower in the gospel. Some seeds fell by the wayside, some among thorns, and some on fertile ground. The seed was the same. It was the reception of the seed that determined the harvest. Likewise, your inner word must fall upon the fertile soil of faith again and again until it becomes your new nature. It is not the occasional shout into the void that changes your life. It is the constant murmur within, the rhythm of your inner speech, the tone of your secret conversations, the habitual self-dialogue that plays in the background of your thoughts. That is the creative act. That is the word becoming flesh. And let me remind you, no one hears these words but you. No one knows this dialogue but you. And yet, it is these very unspoken declarations that form the substance of your experience. For man always moves in the direction of his dominant inner speech. And your world, your relationships, your health, your finances, your opportunities is the echo of what you have been inwardly repeating. Do you say without sound, "Nothing ever works for me"? Then that phrase becomes the law of your land. Do you murmur to yourself, "I am always lucky"? Then fortune rushes to greet you. You see, it is not your effort that creates, it is your assumption. And assumption is nothing but repeated inner word. And repetition, repetition is the golden chisel that sculpts the subconscious. Every time you speak inwardly from your fulfilled desire, you strike the stone again. Not in vain, never in vain. For the subconscious, once impressed, does not argue. It acts. Let me ask you this. What is your current inner vocabulary? What phrases do you cradle silently as you drift to sleep? What words follow you in the corridors of your solitude? For those are the words creating your tomorrows. And you may change them now, this instant, by speaking to yourself as one who already is what they long to be. Speak not of waiting, speak from having, and do so quietly, gently, faithfully. You need not convince others. You need not announce it. You are not performing for the world. You are creating the world. To think silently from your desire fulfilled is to create a mold into which divine substance must pour. The phrase repeated internally with feeling and faith becomes a container. The universe abhors a vacuum. What you assume inwardly, it rushes to fill outwardly. This is why Scripture tells us to pray in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. The secret chamber is your mind. The prayer is your inner word. The reward is your world transformed. You do not need a crowd. You do not need permission. You need only to listen to your inner speech and choose in this moment to begin anew. Start now to repeat within a phrase worthy of your highest vision. A phrase that affirms the end, a phrase that feels alive with certainty, and then protect it, revisit it, water it with attention, and most of all, feel it. For feeling is the nourishment that quickens the seed. Without feeling, the word is hollow, but with feeling, the word is law. You may walk among the crowd, appear as one of many, yet within you a sacred chant may be rising. I am chosen. I am whole, I am blessed, it is done. And no one may hear it, but the universe will respond, for it is not sound it listens to, but state. So I urge you now, speak inwardly, ceaselessly, as one who knows the truth, not loudly, not desperately, but faithfully and consistently. And your inner whisper will become your outer world. This is the power of the inner word. It is the seed. It is the promise. It is the root of your reality. And once you have spoken it in secret with faith, nothing shall be withheld from you. Beloved traveler of the inner path, let us now contemplate the sacred mystery of the 24 hours. Why, you may ask, must we concentrate so fully, so deliberately upon this inner word for a single day? Why not 7 days? Why not only 1 hour? I tell you, because 24 hours is the threshold, the divine hinge upon which your old self swings open into the new. It is the sacred opening through which you may pass out of bondage and into liberty. It is not merely a length of time, it is a crucible. Within this span of one day lies the power to break the spine of your former conditioning. For all patterns, no matter how ancient, no matter how deeply etched into the grooves of your mind, tremble before the flame of sustained attention. When you give your inner word undivided devotion, when you hold the image of your fulfilled desire in the chalice of unwavering focus for a full cycle of light and darkness, you do not merely influence the subconscious, you shock it into awakening. You see, the mind is a creature of inertia. It walks paths it knows. It clings to the known not because it is best, but because it is familiar. And so your life becomes the echo of yesterday's thoughts, replayed with tragic loyalty. To interrupt this cycle requires not force, but focus, not violence, but vigilance. And the first blow must be sharp, must be deliberate, must be intense. This is why I say, begin with 24 hours of consecrated repetition. It is your declaration of war upon the old pattern. It is your refusal to return to Egypt. It is your spiritual fast, your inner Sabbath, your symbolic death and resurrection. It is a spiritual rite of passage. The outer man sees 24 hours as trivial, but the inner man, awakened, knows one day of sacred focus is more powerful than years of passive longing. You are not dipping your toe into the water. You are immersing your soul. For one day you are saying, I shall speak no word against myself. I shall allow no thought that denies my desire. I shall think only from the end as though the miracle has already occurred. And do not be deceived, dear one. This is no casual exercise. It is not a whim. It is holy practice. You are condensing eternity into a single day. You are, in truth, becoming the master sculptor, chiseling a new form into the formless clay of the soul. Think of this period as the spark that lights the altar fire, not the full blaze, but the ignition. If you can ignite your awareness even for one day with such pure intensity, your inner flame will not go out. For the subconscious, once impressed with fire, does not forget. A single imprint burned deep enough can outlast a lifetime of contradiction. This is why I call it a window of sacred experimentation. You are entering the laboratory of consciousness, and in this laboratory you do not test theories, you test yourself. You give your mind no permission to wander, no indulgence in the old lamentations. You say to yourself, this day is holy unto the Lord. I will speak only from the state I wish to embody. And when your mind tries to return to its habitual corridors, when it offers you doubt or memory or fear, you do not resist in panic, but gently and powerfully say, no. That was the man I was, but this is the man I am. You do not fight with the old, you replace it, thought by thought, phrase by phrase, hour by hour. Why 24 hours? Because it is the sacred container, long enough to challenge you, short enough to commit. It is not overwhelming, but it is enough to disturb the soil, to break the hardened crust of thought and plant a new seed deep within. It is also symbolic. One full revolution of the sun, one complete turning of your world. You rise with the new self and lay down with the same. No cracks, no gaps, only continuity. And it is this very continuity that opens the gate to permanent change. Do you not see? All transformation begins with intensity. A new trajectory demands velocity. And when you begin, the pull of the old self is strong. The gravity of the past is seductive. It will beckon you with its familiar sadness, its comfortable doubts. But for 24 hours, you are called to deny it, not with hostility, but with unwavering faith. For one day, you walk as though your prayer has already been answered, and something marvelous begins to happen. The inner chatter slows and the mind begins to bend. The old scaffolding of identity creaks under the weight of your new assumption. And by the end of that sacred window, though the world may look unchanged, You have changed. And because you have changed, the world must. You are not proving anything to others. You are not asking for confirmation. You are becoming the confirmation. You are collapsing the illusion that you are powerless. You are remembering who you truly are. And though it is only one day in the eyes of the clock in the realm of spirit, it is a birth, an anointing, and a covenant. Do not underestimate the power of focused intensity. A laser is nothing but light concentrated. A diamond is nothing but carbon compressed. A transformation is nothing but consciousness focused. Let this 24 hours be your diamond day, your laser of self-awareness, your holy vow. And let the words you speak within this time be pure, be precise, be present. Do not try to make them work, simply speak them. And speak them from the end. Speak them with gentleness, with authority, with love. Let each repetition be a sacred strike upon the bell of your being, ringing out the truth of your fulfilled desire. This is the beginning of dominion, one day of total alignment, one day of spiritual clarity, one day of unwavering inner speech. And when the 24th hour passes, you will not be who you were. You will have tasted the power. You will have touched the edge of creation, and your soul will say in a voice that no longer whispers but declares, "It is working. I have begun." Now, my dear companion, on this sacred path, we come to the heart of the practice, the choosing of the word, the selection of the phrase, the deliberate crafting of the inner sound that will become your new song of life. Do not take this lightly, for this is no mere selection of affirmations from a shelf of positive thinking. No, this is a holy naming. This is the act of giving form to the invisible. Just as God called light into being with a word, so must you call your new world into being with a word that reflects your divine desire as already fulfilled. You must choose words that do not describe what you want, for desire alone creates distance. You must speak from what you have. You must declare what is. Not in the outer world, but in the world that matters most, the inner kingdom. And this phrase you choose must be alive. It must stir you. It must feel not like a dream, but like a memory returning. If you are selecting a phrase such as "I am prosperous," then let that word carry the fragrance of gold. Let it smell of abundance. Let it feel as though your accounts overflow, as though your hands are full, as though your soul is satisfied. If you choose "I am healthy and strong," then let your body respond as though it is already renewed. Let your breath deepen. Let your bones remember their strength. Speak it not as wish, but as realization. Do not concern yourself with complexity. The most powerful declarations are simple. They are direct. They are spoken in present tense, and they carry the energy of inevitability. Not "I will be," not "I hope to be," but "I am, I have, it is done." For the soul does not respond to eloquence, it responds to truth. And your subconscious, which is the womb of creation, is not moved by fancy phrasing. It is moved by feeling. And this, dear one, is the secret. Choose a phrase that evokes in you a feeling of certainty. Not excitement, not intensity, but naturalness. It must feel normal to be who you declare yourself to be. If you say, "I am loved," and a gentle warmth fills your chest, then you have found the right phrase. If you declare, "I am safe," and your body releases a breath it did not know it was holding, then you have found the open gate. The right words are those that feel like home. They settle into the silence of your being without resistance. They do not sound like ambition. They sound like truth remembered. The danger lies in choosing words that feel forced or alien. If you say, "I am a billionaire," but within you stirs only mockery or strain, then you have not chosen the living word. You have chosen noise. You are speaking against your current self-concept, and though repetition may eventually bridge the gap, it is better to begin with a phrase that feels close, one that feels real enough to anchor you and grand enough to stretch you. Perhaps instead of I am rich, your soul rejoices in I am provided for in every way. Perhaps instead of I am famous, your heart feels truth in I am seen and appreciated wherever I go. This is not a dilution, it is precision. You are not trying to impress the universe. You are trying to awaken your own inner agreement. For creation is not a shouting match, it is an alignment. When your inner word and your inner knowing say the same thing, manifestation becomes effortless. The phrase you repeat must be the bridge between where you are and where you know you belong. Not a fantasy, but a revelation. Let me share with you what I have seen in those who succeed in this sacred work. They choose phrases that stir devotion, that awaken tenderness, that make the inner child feel safe and seen. Life is taking care of me. Everything is unfolding perfectly. I am loved beyond measure. These phrases, though simple, are not small. They are thunder in the language of the soul. And let me caution you, do not change the phrase once you have found it. Let it become your sacred chant. Let it become your spiritual breath. Too many wander from one affirmation to another like bees who never land. They gather no nectar because they do not stay. But the soul rewards fidelity. Speak your chosen phrase as though it were your name. Let it become your identity. You are not trying to convince yourself, you are revealing yourself. The phrase is not meant to make something happen. It is meant to make you aware that it already has. So I ask you now, not with pressure, but with loving reverence. What is the word that reflects your true state? Who are you already in the divine imagination? What phrase makes your shoulders drop, your breath soften, your eyes close with peace? Find that phrase, whisper it, cherish it, speak it within again and again, as though the angels were listening, for they are. I am already whole. I am already guided. I am already victorious. These are not hopes. They are sacred remembrances. Choose not with the mind alone. Choose with the heart. Choose the words that feel like sunlight on your skin, that feel like a future you've already lived, that feel like God speaking through you to you. And then, my beloved, speak them as though nothing else exists. And you shall see in time not long from now that the word you have chosen was not merely language, it was the blueprint of your new world. Now, beloved seeker of the unseen, we must turn our attention to the divine current that gives all words their power, the living flame behind the phrase, the soul of the seed. I speak of feeling, for you may repeat a phrase 1,000 times with perfect rhythm and noble intention, but if it lacks the warmth of feeling, it is no more than a shell, an empty sound echoing through a chamber with no light. The words, however carefully chosen, are only vessels. It is the feeling you pour into them that gives them life. And this, above all, is the secret. Feeling is the secret. What you do not feel, you do not plant. What you do not feel, you do not impress upon the womb of creation. The subconscious hears not your syllables. It responds only to your state. And your state is felt, not spoken. Let this be carved into the stone of your understanding. It is not repetition that creates. It is repetition imbued with conviction. It is not the voice that recites. It is the heart that believes. You are not rewarded for quantity, but for quality. One phrase spoken with holy certainty will carry more creative weight than 1,000 recited without presence. When you say, I am deeply loved, do you feel the warmth of that embrace? Do you sense the soft joy of being cherished? Do your eyes moisten at the remembrance of divine affection? Or do the words pass your lips like strangers, unfamiliar, disconnected from the inner world? For if you do not feel it, you have not yet entered the state. And the state is everything. Creation is not mechanical, it is mystical. It flows not through effort, but through embodiment. When you feel a thing to be true, you harmonize with it, you fuse with it. You become one with it, and what you become inwardly, the outer world must reflect as surely as a mirror shows the face that leans into it. You must learn then to treat your feelings as sacred instruments. Let them tune your inner atmosphere. Let them fill the space behind your words with holy music. Do not merely say, I am safe. Become the feeling of safety. Let your body soften. Let your breath deepen. Let your nervous system relax into the truth of the statement. When you say, I am prosperous, do not chase the idea. Live it. Feel the ease. Feel the abundance already surrounding you. Walk as though the world has made way for your success. And I tell you, the moment you feel it, the seed is planted. Not when you say it, not when you analyze it. But when you feel it truly and naturally, it is done. But some may ask, Neville, what if I cannot feel it right away? Then I say, begin with the edge of the feeling. Begin with imagining what it might feel like. Stir the embers even if the flame does not catch immediately. Speak gently and coax the emotion forward. Do not force it, for feeling cannot be commanded by the intellect. It must be invited by the soul. Use memory if you must. Recall a moment when you felt powerful, loved, victorious. Borrow that feeling and wrap it around your phrase. Use imagination to summon the mood. Walk into the scene of your fulfilled desire and feel the air there. Hear the sounds that touch the walls. See the faces of those who rejoice with you. Do not simply repeat the phrase, inhabit it. Let the phrase become your atmosphere, your fragrance, your resting place. Speak it until it ceases to be an idea and becomes a state. Speak it until it feels like your truest truth. And this is the key. You will know you have felt correctly when there is peace. Not a frenzied excitement, not a desperate hope, but a deep, abiding stillness, a sacred calm that says, this is mine. I need not chase it. I am already living in it. That feeling, that holy stillness is the signature of creation. That is the moment the seed is accepted. That is the moment the subconscious begins to rearrange your world. That is the moment the law moves. So do not be deceived by mechanical repetition. You are not performing for an external deity. You are communing with your own divine self. The phrases are not magic spells, they are reminders. And when those reminders are infused with feeling, you return to the state of the wish fulfilled. And from that state, everything flows. Feel the words as you speak them inwardly. Taste them. Let them dance in the body. Let the emotion fill your chest, your belly, your bones. Let the phrase become a current moving through your bloodstream. Let it be real, not someday, not eventually, but now. Speak your word with reverence, but more than that, feel your word with certainty. For this is the law. What you feel as true, you become. And what you become, you will see. Remember this, beloved, words are vessels. But feeling is the fire. Without the fire, the vessel is cold. But when the fire burns, the vessel overflows. Feeling is the secret. It always has been. It always will be. My beloved listener, tonight I invite you to cross a threshold that few dare to enter, not because it is hidden, but because it demands the abandonment of everything familiar. This threshold is the sacred difference between speaking of the end and speaking from the end. It is subtle to the mind, but to the soul, it is the gate between delay and fulfillment, between longing and possession, between hoping and having. You see, most speak of their desires as travelers gazing at a distant land. One day they say, I will be successful. I am going to be wealthy. Soon I shall find love. But this language, though clothed in good intention, is soaked in absence. It confesses not the presence of the thing, but its distance. It confirms the lack. It places your blessing always beyond the horizon, never beneath your feet. To speak of the end is to stand outside of it. But to speak from the end is to dwell in it. There is a holy difference. The phrase, I will be, is a mirage. It dazzles the thirsty, but gives them no water. It keeps your good always a breath away, a day away, a miracle deferred. But when you say, I am, the universe bows. The law recognizes its master. The subconscious opens like fertile earth and receives the seed without resistance. Understand this, the subconscious accepts what you assume to be true now, not what you hope for later, not what you intend to achieve, but what you claim gently, calmly, confidently as already done. And this is the great secret of all manifestation. You must feel yourself into the end, not speak endlessly about it. If you say, I am becoming, you admit that you are not. If you say, I will have, you declare that you lack. But if you say, I am, and feel the truth of it, then the process is no longer process, it is birth. Consider this. When a pregnant woman carries life within her, she does not say, I hope one day to be pregnant. She is, even before the child is seen, she lives from the assumption of motherhood. Her body adjusts, her habits change, her identity shifts, not because she saw the result, but because she accepted it as real within. So too must you accept the unseen desire as your current identity. When you speak from the end, you are not declaring a wish, you are declaring a truth that already exists in the unseen realm. You are saying, this is who I am now, not this is who I hope to become. Let me make this living for you. Do not say, I am going to be prosperous. Say, I am prosperous, and feel the texture of that wealth in your hands. Hear the confidence in your voice. Taste the freedom in your decisions. Do not say, I will find love. Say, I am deeply loved. And let that love warm your chest, soften your eyes, make your posture upright and secure. Do not say, I hope to be healed. Say, I am whole, vibrant, strong. And let every cell of your being resonate with the truth of vitality. And if you protest, but Neville, it's not yet true in the world, I will say to you, that is not your concern. You are not here to report what is, you are here to declare what shall be, because you have already assumed it. You are not a journalist of circumstance, you are a creator of states. To speak from the end is to adopt the mind of Christ, who declared, it is finished, even before the cross was removed. To speak from the end is to be like the father in the parable who ran to embrace the prodigal son, not because he saw proof of change, but because he assumed the return was complete. This sacred practice requires boldness. It requires that you disown appearances and marry truth. You must look into a mirror that still shows the past and speak only of the future as though it were now. And when you do, when you no longer ask whether your desire is real because you feel it so deeply that the question dissolves, then the world must comply. It cannot resist the state you occupy. Remember this, your world is not a separate reality. It is the child of your assumption. It reflects the tone of your inner speech. When you speak from lack, you see more lack. When you speak from fulfillment, you see all things reorganize themselves to support your truth. You may begin this shift gently. You may start with a whisper. You may begin by saying within yourself, what would it feel like if it were already true? And let that question become your meditation. Let it carry you into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And once you taste that feeling, speak only from it. Make it your dwelling place. Let no other voice seduce you back to delay. Refuse to speak of the end as though it were distant. Refuse to worship the God of almost. Dwell in the land of already. This is the narrow path, but it is the path of power. So I say to you with all tenderness and conviction, stop speaking about it. Begin speaking from it. For what you talk about, you postpone. But what you talk from, you become. And when you become it, the world cannot help but show it. Now, my dear soul, if you are to undertake this sacred practice, if you are to walk in the new assumption, not merely in words, but in the feeling of their truth, then I must speak to you of the atmosphere in which your new self is best nourished. For just as a seed requires soil, light, and protection from the choking weeds, so too does your inner word require an environment that supports its unfolding. You are to consecrate this day, not merely by what you say, but by how you live. You must become the silent guardian of your attention. You must turn your mind into sacred ground and your hours into vessels of devotion. You are not simply repeating a phrase, you are birthing a new reality. And every moment of this 24-hour journey is part of the sacred ritual. Let us begin at the threshold of your day, the moment you awaken. This, more than any other, is a portal. The mind is soft, still halfway submerged in the infinite. The conscious guard has not yet risen to protest. Before your feet touch the ground, before you open your eyes fully to the world of form, speak the word. Let the first breath of the day be breathed in the atmosphere of your desire fulfilled. Say inwardly, I am already who I desire to be. Let that declaration rise before the sun. As you move through your morning rituals, do not rush. Let each act become a quiet ceremony. As the water touches your skin in the shower, imagine it washing away the dust of old beliefs. As you brush your teeth, feel that you are preparing the mouth of one who speaks only truth. As you dress, do so as the version of yourself who has already arrived. Not someday, but now. Every small act is sacred when done from the end. When you eat, let the meal be a holy communion, and do not rush it, do not eat distracted, and instead say within yourself, this nourishment is feeding the body of one who is already whole, already radiant, already free. Let every bite be a reminder. Let every sip reaffirm the new identity. This is not fantasy, it is participation. You are rehearsing heaven. You are aligning your form to match your assumption. And throughout the day, at the quiet turning points, those invisible thresholds where habit usually enters unnoticed, become aware. When you sit down, when you stand up, when you check the time, when you walk from one room to another, let these moments become triggers. Let them whisper, now is the time to remember. Speak inwardly your phrase and feel it settle into you again. Not as effort, but as natural rhythm. But listen carefully. Just as you must cultivate the light, you must also guard against the shadows. During this sacred window, protect your mind. Turn away from the noise of the outer world, the headlines that scream of fear, the distractions that pull you from your center, the opinions of others, drenched in limitation. These are the weeds, these are the thieves of your harvest. Do not feed the old self with its familiar poisons. You are not denying the world. You are reclaiming your authority over it. You are declaring, for these 24 hours, my mind is holy ground. Only truth may enter. Only beauty may remain. Avoid conversations that drag you back into doubt. Avoid entertainment that clouds your clarity. This is not about fear, it is about focus. You are building something eternal, and you must not allow the noise of passing things to disturb the still waters where your new self is taking root. Before you sleep, this is the final consecration, for in that twilight between waking and dreaming, the subconscious stands wide open. It is ready to receive. So do not end your day with complaint. Do not review your worries. Lay your head upon the pillow of completion. Whisper your phrase, not as a question, but as a lullaby. I am, it is done, I have. And let that feeling wrap around you like the garment of heaven. Sleep in the assumption. Let it carry you through the night. Let it water the seed in the darkness. And if you wake in the night, speak it again. If you rise before dawn, speak it again. Let this phrase become your closest companion. Let it walk with you, breathe with you, rise and fall with the rhythm of your being. This is not mere discipline. It is devotion. You are not trying to control the outer world. You are creating the inner one. And when the inner world is saturated with the new assumption, the outer must respond. It has no choice. It is only ever a reflection. So live this day as a temple. Let your time be sacred. Let your mind be still. Let your words be precise. Let your feelings be real. Do not simply repeat. Remember. Do not simply speak. Embody. And as the sun moves across the sky and the hours unfold like petals, know that you are not waiting for transformation, you are becoming it. Moment by moment, thought by thought, word by word. This is how you prepare the environment. This is how you welcome the miracle. Now let us descend from the mountaintop into the sacred ordinariness of your day. For it is not in great ceremonies nor in rare silences that your world is most often formed. It is in the rhythm of the routine, the unnoticed minutes, the familiar acts that fill your waking hours. And here lies a powerful mystery. If you will insert the sacred phrase, the word of assumption, into the simple movements of life, then life itself will become your temple. You do not need to leave your home to practice this. You do not need to escape your obligations. You need only to bring the new self with you into every gesture, every task, every breath. For the goal is not to repeat the phrase as a ritual separate from life, but to weave it into life until the line between meditation and movement dissolves, and you are simply being the one you have declared yourself to be. You rise in the morning and make your coffee. Your hands reach for the cup, the warmth spreads through your palms, the scent fills the air, and silently, inwardly you say, I am provided for in every way. Not as a command, not as a performance, but as a truth quietly remembered. The act of making coffee becomes the act of confirming abundance. You walk to the car. The world is waking. The streets are still dim with morning light. And you say within, everything unfolds perfectly for me. You don't wait for a crisis to declare this. You say it because it is who you are. The phrase becomes the road beneath your feet, and it carries you. As you drive, your hands on the wheel, let the repetition continue. Not loud, not forced, but gentle. With every red light, with every pause in traffic, you breathe and whisper inwardly, I am already there. You are not rushing toward your desire. You are driving from it. It is already done, and now you are simply allowing the outer world to rearrange itself to reflect your inner truth. In the grocery line, while others fidget or scroll or sigh, you stand as one who knows. You smile not because of something outside you, but because your soul is anchored. Everything I need comes to me in perfect timing. And as you place the food in your basket, you affirm the truth of provision. You wash dishes, you fold clothes, you take out the trash. The world calls these things mundane, but to the awakened soul, they are opportunities to embody the new state. With each motion of your hands, you say, I am loved, I am free, I am whole. Let the water on your fingers remind you of flow. Let the rhythm of folding remind you of order. Let each action echo the tone of your assumption. This is not about turning life into effort. It is about infusing it with intention. The phrase is not a weight. It is a frequency. And every time you carry it with you, you align yourself more deeply with the state you have chosen. And slowly, gently, naturally, the phrase becomes less a repetition and more a resting place. You are no longer trying to remember it. It begins to remember you. It rises unbidden in the quiet spaces. It speaks when you are silent. It holds you when you are weary. And here is the beauty of this sacred integration. The more you place the phrase into your daily life, the less resistance you meet. The more normal it becomes. The more your subconscious accepts it, not as something you wish to believe, but as something that is simply so. For that is the goal, not to feel that you're affirming a dream, but to walk as though you are recalling a truth. The phrase must become background music to your day, not loud, not distracting, but always there, always humming beneath your breath, always reaffirming, I am already who I desire to be. More. This is how the bridge is built, and this is how the gap is closed between what was and what is. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need long hours of solitude. You need only this, to return again and again to your chosen word, especially in the smallest acts, the quietest corners of your life. And as you continue, something extraordinary begins to happen. The phrase is no longer something you speak. It becomes something you are. And from that state, without strain, without struggle, the world around you begins to reflect your new being. So let your life become a sacred container. Let your breath carry the phrase. Let your steps sing it. Let your chores chant it. And let each ordinary moment become a confirmation of your extraordinary truth. You are not waiting. You are not practicing. You are being, and the world will respond. Now, beloved, let me speak to you, not as one above you, but as one who has walked this very path, who has wrestled with the very silence you fear, who has heard the whisper of doubt as clearly as you hear it now. For when you set out to hold a new inner word, when you dare to declare I am in the face of I was, you will feel it, the trembling, the resistance, the voice that asks, but is this really working? And I tell you, this is not failure. This is not wrong. This is simply the old self resisting its own death. The moment you begin to impress the new truth upon your subconscious, the old pattern, the one you've rehearsed for years, perhaps decades, begins to stir. It does not want to dissolve. It will whisper to you in familiar tones. This is foolish. This is fantasy. Nothing is changing. And here, dear one, is the most sacred moment of your journey, not when things go well, but when they do not. When the seed seems buried in the dark and nothing in the outer world confirms your inner declaration. This is where the alchemy happens. This is where you prove that your faith is not tied to evidence, but to being. You may be tempted to argue with the doubt, to resist it, to fight back with effort and strain. But I say to you, do not struggle, do not wrestle with the shadow, do not try to chase it away. Simply return. Return to the phrase, return to the state, return to the silence where your word still lives untouched. You do not need to feel victorious in every moment. You only need to be willing to return. The power is not in perfection, it is in consistency. The one who returns 1,000 times is the one who is changed. When the mind says this is not working, do not respond with panic. Simply speak inwardly, it is working. It is done. When the feeling of futility creeps in, do not debate it. Do not invite it to stay. Do not try to convince it. Just step back into your phrase. I am already who I choose to be. That is all. Do not measure progress by appearances. Do not look to the mirror for proof. The mirror reflects only what you were. It is slow to catch up, but the inner word is already working and the shift has already begun. And your task is not to make it happen. Your task is to keep being the one for whom it already has. Every time you doubt, and you will, treat it not as a failure, but as an opportunity. The moment you notice doubt is the moment you awaken. You are no longer sleepwalking in old belief. You are aware, and awareness gives you the power to choose again. There is no shame in returning. Return as many times as needed. Return without guilt. Return without drama. Return without self-condemnation. Simply say, I wandered, and now I return. This is how you walk on water, not by avoiding the waves, but by keeping your gaze on the end. The moment you look at the storm, you sink, but the moment you remember the promise, you rise. So let the doubt come. Let it whisper, let it pass. And you speak your phrase. You feel the state. You take a breath and rest again in the truth that this is already yours. You are not here to eliminate every moment of fear. You are here to reign in the midst of it. To remain anchored in truth, even when winds blow through your mind. This is the holy work. Not a fight, but a return. Not a battle, but a quiet choosing. The consistency is not in being perfect. The consistency is in remembering who you are and refusing to dwell as the one you no longer choose to be. And I tell you, each time you return, the old structure weakens. The old voice fades. The gap closes. The new becomes natural. And soon, the phrase is no longer something you recite. It is something you are. The doubts no longer shake you. They no longer even visit. For you have become what you once merely declared. So fear not the challenge of keeping steady. It is not a burden, it is the path itself. And every time you say, it is working, even when nothing seems to confirm it, heaven leans in and says, yes, beloved, now it is. Let us now turn our gaze to one of the most subtle yet decisive forces in your creative power, the sacred stewardship of your speech. Not only the silent speech within, but the words you offer to the world, to your neighbor, to the stranger, and even more dangerously to yourself when you think no one is listening. For the law does not differentiate between internal and external conversation. It does not categorize your speech as public or private, serious or casual, intentional or careless. No, the law responds only to tone, to feeling, to assumption, and every word you speak, be it to the mirror or to a crowd, is a seed cast upon the soil of your reality. This is why I say with solemn urgency, guard your tongue as you would guard your life, for it is with your tongue that you write the script of your future. You may spend the morning in silent, sacred repetition, declaring, I am whole, I am abundant, I am loved. But if by afternoon you casually tell a friend, I'm always so unlucky, or nothing ever works out for me, then you have uprooted the seed with your own hands. You have contradicted your inner prayer with a careless word. And the subconscious, ever faithful, receives both. It does not favor the sacred over the sarcastic. It does not elevate the ritual above the routine. It hears tone and it hears consistency. And if your outer speech is drenched in doubt, in complaint, in mockery, then your inner word loses its power, not because it lacked truth, but because it lacked unity. You cannot affirm abundance in the morning and joke about being broke in the evening and expect manifestation to arrive unshaken. The universe is orderly. It responds to coherence. To speak light and then speak darkness is to cancel your own creation, not by punishment, but by contradiction. And what of the voices around you, those who scoff, those who remind you of your past failures, those who say, you're not being realistic, or you've always been this way? You must meet them not with anger, not with fear, but with stillness, with the calm knowing that they speak from their state and you from yours. Do not argue, do not defend. Simply return to your phrase. Return to the truth you have chosen. The awakened do not need to convince anyone. They only need to remain. Remain in the assumption, remain in the state, remain in the end. Let others speak from their world. You speak from yours. And this does not mean you must isolate yourself. It means you must refuse to lend your voice to that which denies your desire. Refuse to complain, no matter how justified it may seem. Refuse to gossip, even in jest. Refuse to repeat the narrative of lack, of illness, of failure, even when the world demands that you sympathize with it. For every time you speak of how things are, you affirm that they must remain. But when you speak of how things are for you now, in the language of your fulfilled desire, you invite a higher law to intervene. You become the voice of a new creation. Practice this discipline gently but faithfully. When someone asks, how are things going? Let your answer align with your assumption, not with pretense, but with power. If you are assuming wealth, do not speak of scarcity. If you are assuming love, do not speak of loneliness. You need not lie. You need only speak from the end, even when the world still sees the middle. And if you stumble, if you catch yourself slipping back into the old phrases, do not scold yourself. Simply pause, correct, and continue. That was the old speech. This is who I am now. Say it gently. Say it firmly. Say it again. Your spoken word is not merely communication, it is confirmation. Each phrase you utter is either reinforcing your new state or rebuilding the prison of your past. Choose moment by moment which world you will strengthen. Let your language become clean. Let it become precise. Let it become holy. Speak only what you want to see, to feel, to become. And do so without apology. For when your internal speech and your external words are in harmony, when they echo the same truth, when they repeat the same assumption, you become a channel of pure creative force. You become the Word made flesh. and the world around you cannot help but conform. So let every word be chosen. Let every sentence be an extension of your sacred phrase. And if ever you are tempted to speak what contradicts your desire, pause, breathe, and return to your authority. Speak not from fear, speak not to fit in, speak only from your fulfillment, and your fulfillment will find you. And now, beloved soul, we arrive at the most sacred threshold of all, the quiet passage between waking and sleep, the final breath of your day, the invisible gateway where mind loosens its grip and consciousness slips into the deeper waters of being. This moment, this tender golden moment just before you surrender to slumber, it is holy. For here, more than anywhere else, your word has unchallenged access to the creative depths. The world may not know this. The outer man may dismiss it. But you, the awakened, must remember what you feel to be true as you fall asleep is planted in the soil of the subconscious, where it takes root and grows without interference. In this state, when your senses are quieted, when your body grows still and the din of the day has faded, the mind is soft like wax, open like the earth after rain. And into this stillness you must speak, not aloud, but inwardly. You must let your chosen phrase descend into this fertile silence like a seed gently placed in the dark. Let it be simple. Let it be clear. And above all, let it be felt. You do not need 1,000 words here, just one sacred phrase, repeated not with effort, but with peace, not with striving, but with gratitude. For in this moment, you are no longer seeking to become, you are simply being. You are not rehearsing the desire, you are remembering it as if it were fulfilled long ago. Say within, I am already the one I desire to be. It is done. I have received. And let that truth, however softly whispered, fill your chest with warmth. Let it settle into your body like a warm blanket. Let it become the final vibration of your waking state. You see, the subconscious does not argue. It does not reject what is repeated with feeling. It only accepts. It only mirrors. It only brings forth what you give it in the stillness of belief. And there is no stillness more sacred, no belief more potent than that which you hold in the last 5 minutes before sleep. Do not waste this holy time reviewing the pains of the day. Do not drift to sleep lamenting what is not or fearing what might be. For if you enter the dream state with anxiety, you water the weeds. If you drift into slumber with complaint, you rehearse lack. And the subconscious, faithful as ever, will carry it forward into your tomorrows. But if you truly choose to fall asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled, to feel yourself already whole, already blessed, already loved, already free, then you enter sleep as a creator, not a victim. You descend into the deep, not as one hoping, but as one having. Let your last thoughts be thank you. Let your last feeling be peace. Let your final identity be the one you have already claimed throughout the day. You are not rehearsing fantasy. You are reaffirming truth. The outer world has not yet caught up, perhaps, but the seed is planted. And in the silence of the night, without your effort, it will grow. Some of the most powerful transformations I have witnessed began not in grand efforts, but in these quiet moments when a soul lying in bed turned away from old thoughts and whispered inwardly, I am free. I am whole, I am loved, and repeated it not with tension but with surrender, not with force but with trust, and sleep took them. And in the invisible chambers of being, the word became flesh. You must understand, what you feel as true before sleep has unmatched access to the machinery of creation. It bypasses resistance. It goes directly to the throne. And the one who falls asleep in the assumption of the fulfilled desire shall awaken in a world reshaped to reflect it. So tonight, when the lights dim, when the world becomes quiet and you lay your head upon the pillow, do not wander, do not drift, do not entertain the ghosts of what was. Instead, gather your sacred phrase like a pearl, hold it in your heart and repeat it softly, gently, lovingly until it becomes your last awareness. Let the phrase echo in the silence. Let it be your lullaby. Let it be your anchor. And then sleep. And while you sleep, the law will work. The doors will open and the path will clear. And without knowing how, without knowing when, you will awaken one day in the world your final thought created. So say it now and mean it. It is done. I am. I have. Fall asleep as the one who already possesses the promise, and the promise shall reveal itself. Now, beloved one, let us turn our hearts toward the sacred words themselves, the living phrases, the containers of divine essence, the instruments through which your new world is summoned into being. For while it is true that no arrangement of words holds power in itself, once those words are clothed in feeling, once they are breathed in the stillness of knowing, they become fire, they become form, and they become flesh. There are phrases, simple, luminous, eternal, that I myself have returned to time and time again, for they are pure. They are clear. They carry no resistance. They speak directly to the heart, and the heart recognizes them as truth already fulfilled. I am fully blessed. Say it now, not as a hope, but as a holy remembrance. I am fully blessed. This is not the blessing of someday. It is the state of one who walks in the fullness of grace now. You do not seek the blessing. You are the blessing. It surrounds you. It flows through your finances, your health, your relationships, your creativity. You are not asking to be seen. You are already radiating the favor of the Most High. I have everything I need now. Do you feel the quiet power in these words? They are not loud, but they are immovable. They are not poetic, but they are precise. You do not say, I will have. You do not declare, I'm getting close. You stand calmly in the center of your new world and say, I have everything I need now. Let that phrase melt away the illusion of lack. Let it still the restless search. For your outer life will only mirror what your inner self has already claimed. My world reflects my inner peace. What a glorious confession this is. You are not at the mercy of circumstance. You are not a servant of outer events. You are the cause, not the effect. And as you dwell in peace within, as you make inner harmony your dwelling place, your outer world becomes the mirror of that stillness. No chaos can last in the presence of consistent peace. Speak this phrase, and you no longer react, you create. You may choose any of these, or let them inspire your own sacred phrase. For what matters most is not that the words are mine, but that they are yours, deeply, intimately, undeniably yours. They must resonate. They must feel like your own breath returned to you. They must carry the frequency of truth. So if your desire is abundance, perhaps your phrase is, money flows to me with ease and purpose. If your desire is love, I am cherished, seen, and chosen. If your desire is healing, every cell in my body knows how to thrive. If your desire is purpose, my life overflows with meaning and direction. The words must be present tense. They must be final. They must assume the end. Do not say, I want to be. That only affirms that you are not. Do not say, I hope to have. That keeps you in the waiting room. Speak only from the position of one who has, who is, who knows, and as you speak it again and again, let it deepen, not in volume, but in substance. Feel how the phrase settles in your body. Feel how it becomes more real than the appearances around you. Feel how it stops being something you say and begins to become who you are. Do not choose many, choose one or two. Let them anchor you. Let them become the song beneath your silence. Let them rise in you in the middle of the night, in the midst of work, in the rhythm of your walk. They are not decorations, they are declarations. And if you are not sure what phrase to choose, I offer you this guide. How would you speak if your greatest desire were already real? What would you say, not to others, but to yourself, if the long-awaited promise had already been fulfilled? That is your phrase. Speak it as if you're not trying to make it happen, but as if it already has. And when you find it, oh, when you find the phrase that rings true in your belly, that calms your breath, that opens your heart as if light had entered, hold it and speak it gently, repeatedly, faithfully. For as surely as the seed becomes the tree, your phrase, once felt, must become your life. Beloved, listen with your heart open and your inner ear attuned. For what I speak now is not merely possibility, it is spiritual law. When you take upon yourself the sacred task of impressing a new state upon your mind, when you repeat your chosen phrase with faith, feeling, and fidelity for a single day, you must not expect the world to remain unchanged. It cannot. It will not. For consciousness is the only reality, and when the root of consciousness shifts, the branches of experience must follow. And so I tell you, watch, not with anxiety, not with desperation, but with quiet awareness. For in these first 24 hours, you may begin to notice what the world calls coincidence, but what we, the awakened, know to be confirmation. A stranger may offer you a word that echoes your chosen phrase. A message may arrive that stirs something familiar in your heart. You may find yourself in a place you had not planned to visit, and there you feel an unusual sense of alignment. Or a memory may return not to haunt, but to heal. These are not accidents, these are movements, echoes, ripples of the inner word beginning to push outward. Do not look for thunder. Do not demand lightning. The seed does not scream when it breaks open beneath the soil, but it breaks nonetheless, quietly, powerfully. And so in these sacred hours, as your new state begins to impress itself deeper and deeper into the subconscious, the first signs often arrive not in drama, but in subtlety. A feeling of lightness you cannot explain, a release of tension in the body, a shift in how you respond to something that once disturbed you, a sudden realization that you no longer need the thing you once craved because now you know it is already yours. These are signs, not of effort, but of alignment. They are the early fruits of the inner tree taking form. You may receive a phone call you weren't expecting. You may stumble upon a book, a word, a scene that feels unusually fitting. You may have a dream that points you in a direction, or experience a moment of awe where time seems to pause and everything feels connected. These are not to be dismissed. These are the whispers of confirmation. But let me speak now with clarity and caution. Do not rush to interpret everything. Do not grow anxious in trying to spot the change. Your role is not to force results into visibility, but to remain faithful to the state. Do not turn the 24 hours into a test. Turn them into a prayer, a vow, a living altar upon which you lay your attention, your feeling, your devotion, and still be receptive. Be humble enough to notice. For what often begins as a whisper becomes, over time, a voice, and that voice becomes action, and that action becomes form. But you must learn to celebrate the small evidence, for the small carries within it the seed of the great. The world within moves first, then the world without follows. If during these 24 hours you feel something within you loosen, some tightness of identity, some fixed image of limitation, then you are already rising. The moment you begin to expect different things, see yourself differently, assume quietly that good is coming, not because you asked, but because it belongs to you, then the shift has already occurred. You are not waiting for proof. You are not holding your breath for the outer world to approve your new identity. Number, you are listening for resonance. You are recognizing that life is responding to your new inner tone. And the signs when they come, whether soft or strong, are simply reflections of that tone. The smile of a stranger, the sudden ease in a conversation, the disappearance of something that once troubled you, the unexpected kindness, the sense of peace in a moment that used to bring fear. These are sacred. These are proof not of what is to come, but of what is already at work. Be vigilant, not paranoid. Be open, not obsessive. Look not with suspicion, but with reverence. The universe is not mocking you, it is mirroring you. And if your inner world has been saturated with the word of fulfillment, your outer world has no choice but to begin bending toward that fulfillment as the flower bends toward the sun. Remember, the first fruits are often invisible to the untrained eye. But you are no longer untrained, you are awake. You have taken your place as the operant power. And so, when these subtle signs come, and they will, receive them with joy. Mark them not as coincidence, but as covenant. And continue even then to speak the phrase. Continue to dwell in the end. For the appearance of movement is not the conclusion. It is only the beginning of evidence. Let each sign be a gentle nod from the infinite, saying to you, yes, beloved, it has begun. And now, beloved, we must rise higher, beyond technique, beyond repetition, beyond outcome, and behold the true majesty of this sacred work. For what you are engaging in when you repeat your phrase, when you dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you assume your desire already manifested, is not merely mental practice. It is divine participation. You are not simply a human seeking change. You are God in action. This is the holy truth that undergirds all I have ever taught. Your own wonderful human imagination is God. Not a metaphor, not a poetic ideal, but the living reality. God is not outside of you, sitting in judgment, issuing decrees from afar. Number, God is within you as your own I am. And when you say I am, followed by any declaration of being, you are uttering the sacred name of God. Do you see the magnitude of this? When Moses stood before the burning bush and asked the voice, "Who shall I say sent me?" The answer came not as a title, but as a revelation of being. I am that I am. This was not a name to be spoken lightly. It was a key to creation, a code of divine authorship. And that very name, the eternal I am, is within you now, waiting not to be worshipped, but to be used. Every time you say I am, followed by a state, whether it be I am strong, I am wealthy, I am unloved, I am lost, you are not simply describing yourself. You are declaring the nature of God in you. You are shaping the formless essence into visible structure. You are speaking the word. And the word, once spoken with feeling, must become flesh. Your internal dialogue, those private whispers, those unspoken phrases you repeat again and again, they are the creative speech of God through you. You are not begging an external deity to intervene. You are awakening the divine within by speaking from the state of already being. Let this penetrate deeply. Your inner word is God's decree. This is why inner speech carries such power, why it must be treated with reverence. For when you say, I am safe, and you feel the peace of it, you are invoking the presence of the infinite to embody that safety. When you say, I am healed, and your soul relaxes into it, you are aligning yourself with the very intelligence that formed galaxies and spun stars into motion. This is the mystery of the Word made flesh. It is not distant history, it is your daily miracle. Every time you return to your phrase, not with strain, but with faith, you are engaging in divine utterance. Every repetition is a new genesis. Every assumption of the end is a resurrection of truth. You are not merely speaking to yourself. You are calling forth God within you. You are allowing the creative spirit to move as your thought, as your feeling, as your identity. And as you do so, creation begins not outside you, but through you. To say I am is to begin the process of embodiment. And the phrase you attach to it becomes the form God wears in your life. So speak carefully, speak faithfully, speak as one who knows that every inner word is heard in the secret place and rewarded openly. Not by favor or merit, but by law. for God in you cannot be mocked. What you sow in assumption, you reap in experience. Do not treat your inner speech as idle. Do not let it be casual. Let it be a holy fire. Let it be your altar. Let it be the place where heaven kisses earth, where spirit takes on shape, where the invisible becomes visible. You are not waiting for divine intervention. You are the intervention. When you speak your phrase, I am provided for. I am deeply loved. I am at peace. You are not just aligning with a better mindset. You are aligning with your source. You are placing the full power of the divine behind your word. And the moment you feel it as true, the moment you accept it as real, that same divine power begins to express it into form. This is the path of conscious creation. Not the work of the ego, but the song of the soul awakened. You are not alone in this process. You are not generating power, you are channeling it. You are remembering the truth that has always been, that the God you seek has always been the voice within you. And now you speak not as a servant begging, but as a son, a daughter, a creator, affirming. The inner word is holy. The feeling behind it is divine. The repetition is the rhythm of God remembering himself through you. So speak your phrase now, not as a tool, but as a prayer, not as a formula, but as a revelation. And know, as you say it, I am. That is God speaking. Now, beloved student of the sacred word, let us look with sober clarity at the hidden structure that governs most of human experience. Not fate, not chance, not even desire, but habit. Habit of thought, and habit of emotion, habit of speech. It is these silent, repeated patterns, often unconscious, often unchallenged, that become the architecture of the life you now call mine. And if you would rise above what has been, if you would step into the new garment of your assumed desire, then you must confront the tyrant of mental repetition. For you do not suffer from lack of intention. You suffer from unquestioned momentum. The same phrase repeated inwardly for years. I always mess it up. Nothing works for me. It's too late. People can't be trusted. These have become mantras, not declared, but absorbed. And each time they are repeated, even quietly, even passively, they etch deeper grooves into the landscape of your being. And so I say to you, with all the love and power I can offer, if you do not choose your thoughts, your old thoughts will choose you. If you do not become master of your inner word, the old word will rule your life by default. Not because it is true, but because it is familiar. This is why I give you the sacred command. Repeat your chosen phrase for 24 hours. It is not to amuse the intellect, nor to create temporary excitement. It is to pierce the veil. It is to break the cycle. These 24 hours are not symbolic. They are strategic. They are the spearhead, the point of impact that drives a new rhythm into the heart of your subconscious. It is not that you will reprogram the entire mind in a single day, but rather that you will disrupt the existing program. And disruption is the beginning of liberation. Imagine your mind as a field, long overgrown with the weeds of doubt, delay, fear, and guilt. The same trails walked again and again. You know them well. You no longer even notice them. They have become automatic. But now, by repeating your sacred phrase, with feeling, with presence, with authority, you are forging a new path. And the subconscious, that great receiver, begins to look in a new direction. Yes, the old thoughts will still rise. They may come disguised as logic. They may come cloaked in the voice of memory. But you must not wrestle them. You must not fight. You must only repeat the new word again and again, with love, with steadiness, with holy stubbornness. Every time you say, I am already the one I desire to be, you lay down a new track. And every time you return to your phrase instead of entertaining the doubt, you are loosening the grip of the old story. Every time you pause in the middle of the day to reaffirm, it is done. It is mine. I am. You weaken the chains of habit and strengthen the wings of your spirit. This day of immersion is not just practice, it is a declaration of dominion. You are telling the old self, you may still echo, but you no longer command. You are telling the mind, I am the one who chooses now. And the mind, when met with such focused repetition, will bend. Not immediately, not in a single moment, but certainly. For the subconscious cannot resist consistency. What you feel to be true over and over again becomes. Do not be discouraged if, during this sacred day, you find yourself slipping. That is the echo of the old programming. You have not failed, you have simply noticed. And the moment you notice, you return. That is the power, that is the victory. Not perfection, but persistence. And I tell you, if you truly give yourself to this immersion, if you carry your phrase through meals, through movement, through silence, through conversation, through waking and sleeping, you will feel the shift. It may begin as peace. It may show itself as subtle joy. It may rise as confidence unprovoked. But something within will say, this is different. I have turned the tide. And from that turning, all else follows. Do not underestimate the power of a single day of conscious repetition. In this short span, you can awaken a new self. You can stir new life into the depths of your being. You can cut through the inertia of years with the blade of attention. Repetition is not drudgery when it is done in love. Repetition is worship. Repetition is the rhythmic dance of creation. The divine did not say, let there be once. He said it again and again until there was. So too must you say it until it becomes natural, until it becomes familiar, until it becomes you. This day is not just about phrases. It is about reclaiming your authorship. It is about silencing the script of the past, not by force, but by volume, by the holy volume of a new and better word, spoken faithfully, repeatedly from the end. And I promise you, when the old self sees that you are no longer dancing to its tune, when it sees that you have remembered your power, it will fade. And in its place, a new you will rise. It begins with the word. It is sustained by the word. And it is fulfilled as the word made flesh. Now let me speak gently but firmly to the soul who dares to believe in the midst of contradiction. For it is certain when you begin this holy work, when you repeat your phrase with reverence and declare your new identity with faith, the old world may not immediately bow. No, often it will rise up with one final breath, shouting its protest, clinging to its illusion, hoping to pull you back into its gravity. And this is where many turn away. This is where the untrained spirit falters, saying, but look, nothing has changed. Perhaps this is all in vain. But you, beloved, must know better. You must understand a sacred law. What you see today is not born of today's thought. What you encounter in the outer world is not proof of your current state. It is the echo of previous states. The circumstances you face are not authorities. They are messengers of a past identity. They are the withering leaves of a tree you have already stopped watering. So do not tremble when appearances seem unchanged. Do not interpret a delay as denial. Do not let contradiction undo your declaration. For what you are seeing now is simply the dying breath of what once was. Let it pass, let it fade, let it go. You do not uproot a seed because the flower has not bloomed by morning. You do not abandon a journey because the first mile still looks like the place you left. The law is perfect. And if you have assumed the state, if you have felt your phrase in truth, then the manifestation is assured, though it may travel through time to reach you. Circumstances are shadows, not substance. They are reflections, not reality. They are the result, not the cause. And so when the world says nothing has changed, you must say within, everything is already different. When the situation seems to contradict your inner word, you do not engage it. You do not fight, you do not explain. You remain, you repeat, you return to the state. You say inwardly, though the fig tree does not blossom and there be no herd in the stall, yet will I rejoice in the Lord. And who is the Lord but your own awareness of being? Do you not see the wisdom in this? The storm may still rage outside, but within you are dry. The news may still report lack, but within you are full. The account may still read empty, but within you are the possessor of increase. And it is that within that must be preserved, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is not. These contrary appearances are your final test, not of worthiness, but of faithfulness. They ask one question only. Will you continue to assume the end, even when the middle looks chaotic? Will you say, I am loved, even when rejection seems to appear? Will you say, I am whole, even when symptoms speak otherwise? Will you say, I am secure, even when the bill arrives? You must, because you know now that what is seen is temporary, but what is assumed and felt is eternal. And here is the miracle. If you remain, if you do not give voice to the fear, if you do not narrate the negative, if you do not speak again from the old state, the appearance will change. It must, it is law. The outer world cannot help but conform to the sustained inner assumption, but only if you do not break the rhythm with doubt. So hold your phrase like a candle in the wind. Shield it gently with your attention. Repeat it when fear tries to rise. Whisper it when confusion tries to creep in. Speak it inwardly when the outer voice mocks. I am already who I choose to be. It is already done. This is the voice of dominion. This is the tone of mastery. You are not ignoring circumstances. You are overriding them. You are not denying what your eyes see. You are choosing to see with the eyes of spirit. And spirit speaks the end from the beginning, always. So stand even when the ground beneath you shakes. Declare even when the evidence says otherwise. And know as surely as the sun rises that the outer world will catch up. It must, because you have moved. And once you move in consciousness, the world has no choice but to follow. So let the world say what it will. Let the appearances dance their final dance. You stand in the truth of your phrase. And soon, very soon, what once seemed to oppose you will become the very stage upon which your fulfillment is revealed. Now let us turn our hearts to the sacred current that quickens all manifestation, the fragrance that proves the blessing has already bloomed, the song that only the fulfilled soul can truly sing, gratitude, not as obligation, not as spiritual performance, but as the spontaneous language of one who knows. You see, beloved, when you speak your phrase, I am loved, I am whole, I am prosperous, you are declaring a state. But when you add to that declaration the energy of gratitude, you amplify it, you deepen it, you seal it. Gratitude is the perfume of the fulfilled wish. It is the emotion that says, this is already mine. And nothing hastens the formation of a desire like the feeling that it has already been received. Not hoped for, not chased, but possessed. To say, I am grateful to already have this, is to say to the subconscious, this is my reality now. It is the signature of ownership. And the subconscious, that eternal servant of assumption, will take your gratitude as evidence of truth, and it will bring into visibility that which matches your thanksgiving. So I say to you, do not merely repeat the phrase, feel grateful for its reality as you say it. Let your words rise like this. I am so thankful to be deeply loved. I am truly grateful for the peace that surrounds me. I feel blessed to be fully supported in all I do. And say these not with strain, but with softness, with warmth, with that quiet joy that wells up when one remembers something beautiful that already belongs to them. You are not trying to convince the universe. You are acknowledging what is already true in the invisible realm. Gratitude is not a step you add. It is the atmosphere you bring. It is the invisible embrace that wraps your assumption and tells the mind, this is safe to believe. This is real now. Even in the beginning, when the world still appears the same, even then, say thank you, especially then. That is the test, that is the leap, and that is the power. To stand in a room where nothing has changed and to say inwardly, thank you, Father, for already making it so. That is faith made visible. And do not wait for the big signs. Give thanks for every whisper, every subtle shift, every flicker of inner calm. Give thanks that you have remembered the truth, that you are no longer bound to old stories, that you have chosen a new phrase, a new state, a new name. Gratitude transforms repetition into devotion. It turns the phrase from a mental task into a spiritual feast. It brings warmth to the words, light to the mind, and softness to the heart. Let it accompany your phrase in the morning. Thank you for this new day as one who is already victorious. Let it walk with you during the day. Thank you that all is unfolding perfectly for me. Let it whisper you into sleep. Thank you that it is done. Thank you that it is mine. Thank you that I am. This is not imagination alone, it is embodiment. And I say this to you with deep conviction. The soul that gives thanks before the miracle appears is the soul who calls the miracle forth. For gratitude speaks not from absence, but from fullness. And fullness always creates more. So do not repeat your phrase like one who is trying. Repeat it like one who is receiving. Repeat it as if your hands were already full, as if your heart were already satisfied. Let the phrase and the thanks become one breath. I am wealthy, and thank you. I am loved, and thank you. I am healed, and thank you. It is done. Thank you. This is how heaven moves. This is how the unseen becomes seen, not by effort, but by trust, and by the gratitude that proves it is already yours. Now, dearest soul, let us speak of the fruits that may ripen quickly, the first gentle blossoms that appear not in the world around you, but in the atmosphere within. For when you devote yourself to this holy immersion, when you repeat your phrase, feel it with sincerity, carry it with gratitude, something begins to shift, and that shift can be felt long before the outer world reflects the fullness of your desire. Do not overlook the power of these subtle signs. Do not dismiss them as trivial, for they are not merely symptoms of change, they are the change. They are the first evidence that the inner landscape is rearranging itself, and where the inner moves, the outer must follow. You may notice a lightness in your chest, as though a great burden has been lifted, though nothing has yet altered in your surroundings. You may feel a strange peace, unprovoked, unearned by circumstance, but deeply real. This is not illusion. This is the divine signature of alignment. It is the soul sighing with relief because it has been heard. Your thoughts become clearer. The fog of confusion begins to lift. You begin to make decisions with quiet confidence. You respond to people differently. You no longer react from fear, but from poise. You no longer feel the need to defend or explain yourself because inwardly you are secure. These are not small things, they are profound. And the world, though it may appear unchanged in form, begins to feel less threatening. Time feels more spacious. Worry loses its voice. Even your posture shifts. You walk not as one who is waiting, but as one who knows. And in this knowing, your energy changes. And as your energy changes, so too do your interactions, your opportunities, your outcomes. Let us not confuse the visible with the real. The manifestation of a house, a relationship, a healing, these are beautiful, yes, but they are the shadow of something far greater. The true miracle is the internal resurrection, the return to your original state of wholeness. You may feel a sudden compassion for yourself. a forgiveness of past mistakes, a willingness to release the story you've carried for so long. That shift alone is worth lifetimes. That peace is the seed of every other blessing. So do not wait until something happens to celebrate. Celebrate the moment your heart begins to believe. Celebrate the hour when you catch yourself smiling for no reason. Celebrate the realization that you no longer feel desperate. That is the victory. That is the movement. That is the unfolding of the new self. And yes, perhaps the bank account has not yet changed, the diagnosis not yet reversed, the door not yet opened. But you are no longer the one who feared those things. You are no longer the one who begged the world to love you. You are now the one who assumes, who radiates, who walks in truth. And so I tell you, that is not waiting, that is creation. The outer manifestation may come in its time, but you have already changed. And when the inner man is changed, the outer world must align. Even if the full bloom takes longer to arrive, the first scent of it is already in the air. The first light has already risen. And it is not to be questioned, it is to be received. The joy you feel is not a side effect, it is a signpost. The clarity you sense is not temporary. It is a window into your new self. And the lightness in your chest is not imagination. It is the lifting of centuries of mental weight. Let these early fruits be your confirmation. Let them be your reward. For the true treasure is not what you receive, but who you become in the process. This is the unseen wealth. This is the inner gold. And from this gold, all else is drawn. And now, beloved soul, as we near the close of this sacred cycle, let us gaze not only upon what has been, but upon what can be. For if in a single day, just 24 hours of reverent repetition, focused feeling, and gentle alignment, you have begun to feel the shift, to taste the clarity, to witness the first flickers of change, then I ask you, what might unfold if you continued? If one day of conscious speech, of sacred inner dialogue, can plant a seed strong enough to disturb old patterns, calm inner storms, and realign your soul to the end already fulfilled, what would happen in 7 days, in 30, in a year? What you have done is not a mere exercise. It is not a spiritual novelty, not a ritual to be checked off and stored away. You have uncovered a key that opens the door to perpetual creation. And if the door has opened even just a little, why would you ever close it again? You see, the real power lies not in intensity alone, but in continuity. It is not the one who speaks with fervor for a moment who is transformed. It is the one who lives inside the phrase, who lets the new state become the new rhythm, the new baseline, the new identity. And so I say to you now, not as challenge, but as invitation, continue. Let this day become the beginning of a way of being. Let your phrase evolve from repetition to residence. Let the sacred word dwell in you until it becomes you, until it is no longer something you speak, but something you are. You do not need to strive. You do not need to intensify. You only need to maintain. As the sun rises each day without strain, so too can you return to your phrase. As the tide rolls in and out without doubt, so too can you settle into the feeling of your fulfilled desire again and again. You have seen what happens in a single day, the lightness, the clarity, the signs, the inner stillness, the quiet joy. And if such fruits can appear so swiftly, imagine the harvest when the tree is watered daily. What happens when you do this not as experiment, but as lifestyle? Your world bends, your assumptions stabilize, your energy becomes magnetic. Others feel your peace and do not know why. Doors open without effort. Old fears become distant echoes. You no longer react, you create. You no longer seek, you possess. And all this, not because the universe changed its laws, but because you honored them consistently. Because you remembered day after day to dwell in the end, to speak from the promise, to rest in the state of already being. This is not a fleeting miracle, it is a permanent awakening. And so do not look back. Do not treat this as a finished task. It is not a challenge completed. It is a foundation laid. You have touched the edge of your creative power. You have seen what happens when the inner word is treated as law. Now, imagine this not as a day, but as your everyday. Let your phrase evolve as your desires evolve. Let your state deepen as your awareness expands. Let the word in you become richer, fuller, quieter, stronger. You are not returning to the old self. You are not resuming the old speech. You are becoming the one you were always meant to be. And so continue, not with pressure, but with peace, not with anxiety, but with reverence. Let each morning greet you with the same phrase. Let each night carry you back into the fulfilled state. Let each action be a living expression of your inner word. The 24 hours were the spark, but you now are the flame. And now, beloved one, we stand together at the threshold, not of an end, but of a great and radiant beginning. You have been shown the path. You have been reminded of your origin. You have heard the call to awaken, not partially, not passively, but fully, to the sacred truth that has always lived within you. Your word is power. Your word is law. Your word is God in motion. What you say within yourself, again and again, with feeling, with faith, with conviction, becomes the shape of your world. You need not wait for permission. You need not ask for more signs. The time is now. This moment is the gate. And I invite you with reverence and joy to step through it. Take this challenge, not for performance, not for proof, but as an offering to your future self. For 24 sacred hours, let your mind become a temple. Let your speech within and without reflect only that which you choose to be true. Let your phrase become your breath. Let your word walk with you through the silence, through the noise, through every room, every task, every heartbeat. And when the doubt comes, return. When the old world calls, return. When the appearance contradicts, return. Return again and again and again to the phrase that declares the end already fulfilled. Whether it be, I am whole, I am free, I am chosen, I am deeply loved, or another sacred utterance that feels true in your bones, speak it. And speak it with the certainty of one who knows the word is already flesh, the promise already fulfilled in unseen realms. And as you do, watch. Not with strain, but with holy curiosity. Watch the air around you shift. Watch the current within you change direction. Watch the echoes of your inner word begin to ripple outward into form. And when you have walked this path for one full day, when you have given yourself to this sacred rhythm, I ask you to return here. Share what you witnessed. Share what you felt. Share what stirred, not for applause, but to inspire another soul to remember what you now know. Your words are powerful. Say it again. Your words are powerful. They are not passive and they are not meaningless. They are the very instruments of creation. You do not speak to describe, you speak to declare. You do not speak to observe, you speak to embody. You do not speak to ask, you speak to become. So use your words wisely. Speak with intention, speak from the end, speak with gratitude, and speak with feeling, and let every phrase you repeat be a step into the life you have already received in spirit. You are not waiting for life to happen. Life is waiting for you to speak it forth. Take this day, choose your phrase, and walk as one who already has. Everything begins with the word. Everything answers to the word. And you, dear soul, are the word made flesh. Now speak and let your world be made new.